You get Wi-Fi out here? You should subscribe to my channel. I'm going to put you in the piece, Mr. Ostrich. I guess I don't know that you're a boy. Seltos. It's not a new crunchy snack, breath mint, or the latest fizzy water. It's a Kia crossover, and of course it is, because this is what people want to buy these days. It's nowhere near the size of the white-hot 3-row Telluride, but Seltos is 7 inches longer than another Kia home run, the Soul, and it adds all-wheel drive. Where does the moniker Seltos come from? Well, apparently it's one of Hercules' children, and certainly better than Korean tighties. And it is spelled a little bit differently with an S, so it goes with Soul, Sportage, Sorrento, and Telluride. Okay, that's a T.
And leading vehicle departure alert, when the car ahead of you starts to leave, how many times have you sat behind a car that just doesn't seem to notice that green light that everybody else does?
I'm at the press launch in San Antonio, Texas. Kia learned some positioning strategy with the sales success of Telluride. The South Korean brand is positioning Seltos as a more rough and ready player, giving nearly every model all-wheel drive. Only the lower S trim can be had with front drive.
But again, this idea of rugged, refined, and right size, really going after what this segment is not doing. You know, everybody else is positioning, Honda and others positioning themselves as being more, the Costco runner. We think we've got something a lot more special here. And again, connecting back to the success of the Telluride, we think we're onto something for the Kia brand.
Cross-shop this against the likes of Subaru Crosstrek, Mazda CX-30, Honda HR-V, and Jeep Renegade. Why another small crossover?
This segment is the fastest growing of the SUVs and crossover segments. It is the smallest volume, but if you compare it to the now maxed out we call it subcompact SUV, which is Sportage, RAV4, CR-V segment, that one is fully penetrated. So now all the competition is moving into this segment.
So let's drive. Seltos and cousin Hyundai Kona share an architecture, but the Kia is longer by 8 inches and has a longer wheelbase. Two familiar powertrains get it up to speed if you know your Kias and Hyundais. The naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder with 146 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque is hooked up to an intelligent variable transmission meant to simulate 7 gears. The 1.6-liter turbocharged 4 pumps out 175 horses and 195 pound-feet of torque. All-wheel drive is available with the 2-liter, but front drive with the 1.6-liter engine is not a thing, it's strictly all-wheel drive. The turbo engine shifts with a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox. There is no manual available in Seltos, which weighs in at an average of about 3,000 pounds. Now, because it takes me a long time to shoot these videos, I'm only able to drive the 1.6-liter turbo engine on this event and not the normally aspirated 2-liter. And I've got a great big Ford pickup coming up on me, so let's check out acceleration. It feels like Seltos does the 0 to 60 dash in 7 seconds or so. There is a little bit of power buildup when taking off, not so much of a lag, but overall, the engine's punchy enough. This is the engine to go for if you're looking for reasonable horsepower. The programming of the dual-clutch transmission is good. It doesn't call much attention to itself. Shifts aren't as snappy as a Volkswagen DSG, so you know. The suspension is on the firm side, but it's still pretty comfortable, and I like the steering weight of this car. Nice and hefty, and there's actually road feel coming up through the wheel. On center feel is fairly well locked down, so Seltos feels confident on the highway, and body movements are well checked during cornering and braking. This little sport ute has some handling chops. There's brake torque vectoring. As far as quietness in the cabin, Seltos is pretty good. You don't hear much road noise, but there is wind noise coming off the windshield, though it is kind of windy out there, so it's a little hard to tell. That said, crosswinds didn't seem to affect it much. To get the lion's share of active electronic safety gear, like automatic emergency braking and adaptive cruise control, go with the higher trim levels. The base cars don't offer much. Kia was unusually candid in admitting it wants to move buyers up market to get them. The ones that I could test, like lane keep assist, worked pretty well. The powertrain that I'm driving, the 1.6-liter turbo with all-wheel drive, is the least efficient Seltos that you can buy, and it's EPA rated at 30 miles per gallon on the highway. However, I am doing much better than that. Look at this, over 33 mpg. Not too shabby. One reason people buy SUVs and crossovers is the elevated ride height. People like to see ahead, and this one does have an elevated position, but it's a small vehicle, so it's not like you ride as high as a Ford F-150, which is what everybody is driving around this neck of the woods. I pretty much spent all my time in this top trim SX model, but I can tell you that the less expensive cabins have a good look to them. Seltos is not a penalty box, and it's roomy enough so that larger drivers won't feel overly cramped. Kia claims that there's more passenger room than a RAV4 in here. Soft touch materials are strategically put where people touch them, and hard where they don't. The automatic climate control is single zone. Most Seltos seats are covered in cloth. SX chairs are finished in leatherette. No cows were harmed for these nicely bolstered seats, which are heated. The driver gets power adjustment. The passengers is all manual. The usual storage cubbies are scattered around the cockpit. Plenty of slots for your Fiji water and Mentos in the Seltos. Most of them are fairly good sized, appreciated in a smaller vehicle. The Bose sound is good, but hardly the top-tier Panerai system, and it comes with mood lighting plus ambient sound like rain, snowy footsteps, and to set the mood while waiting in the Starbucks drive-thru, a coffee shop. A hidden shelf has a wireless charging system. You'll probably forget your phone often. Ask me how I know. Most models come with an 8-inch touchscreen user interface. This SX has a 10.25-inch screen. It's the usual setup shared by Kia and Hyundai that's laid out well with good response. No problems here. And yes, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are your co-pilots in every Seltos. We were promised rugged opportunities. You will probably not encounter livestock on your off-roading, but we are. This is a Texas ranch complete with ostriches. I hear they taste like veal. We were told to watch out for this one. Not easy when you need to get shots of the car. This is a pretty lightweight course with goats, but it's what most consumers will take their crossovers on. You really don't need a Jeep Rubicon. The all-wheel drive system can send torque front to back, and it can be locked to send equal amounts of power to both axles. Kia did modify the lower front clip of the Seltos for the American market, so there's a better approach angle. Not that I'm going to need that here. All models have the same 7.3-inch ground clearance. I'm certain a front-drive Seltos can tackle much rougher terrain than this. A Miata could make it through here. Ostriches might be an issue with the top down, though. This one really wanted to eat the turn signal stock. No, Evil Twin did not come to Texas. He's not allowed anymore after what happened at the Chevy Malibu event years ago. Someday I'll tell you that story. But in the meantime, I am also 5'9", head, knee, foot, legroom, all decent in here. Plus, the cushions are high enough so that there's thigh support. Passengers can get organized or charge up a phone. Always good to have ports back here. Dang! No pocket on this side, which is a little chintzy, but the armrests are padded, no hard plastic here. Heated seats are not available in back. The driveshaft tunnel doesn't intrude too much, so a third person wouldn't have their feet cramped, but like other vehicles this size, 2's company, 3's a crowd. Bring the carpool gang along for the test drive, if you're wondering. One of the reasons why SUVs and crossovers are so popular these days is because of younger buyers. They appreciate the practicality. Smart. I never have time to hit Costco up for TP on these trips, so you're going to have to settle for my big gear bag, which holds all of my stuff. Cameras, batteries, cords, clothes for a few days, everything. I travel light. Here the floor is set to the upper level for storage underneath it. There's a lower position that it slides into to max out cargo room. It's easy to reach the seat release without getting your pants dirty on the bumper. It's a standard 60-40 split here, and the result is a fairly flat load floor. Cargo room is rated at nearly 63 feet with the floor in the low position, and while the hatch isn't powered, the grab handle is hefty. Hey, it's named after Hercules' kid. It should be. An S model running with front-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive equipped LX both retail at a starting price of around $23,000 with shipping. The top-shelf all-wheel drive turbocharged SX here begins at $29,000. There's a $345 upcharge on some paints like this Star Bright Yellow example. A sunroof will set you back $700, though it's not available with the two-tone roof for now. The sweet spot is the EX model with all-wheel drive and the less powerful engine that starts at $26,400. So it's affordable, but not the kind of screaming deal this brand might have been in the past. It's a lesson Kia learned from its big brother Telluride. Make a very good vehicle, and it doesn't need a fire sale price to move it off the lot. Seltos is good enough to attract a few buyers shopping for crossovers like Honda CR-V, Mazda CX-5, and even Sportage. Unlike snacks, mints, and bottled water, vehicles are serious investments, so test drive a bunch. Seltos should be on that list. As a guy that covers cars, it's my job to point out what class a vehicle is in, but sometimes that's limiting. Like Telluride, Seltos punches above its weight class, put it up against an Audi Q3, and many shoppers would be impressed how the Kia holds its own. There's no leather or wood for people to look at, but folks who were passing by at the hotel where I shot these static shots were very impressed. One couple said it was like a Volvo XC40. A guy said he liked it better than his wife's Lexus UX. Those who don't need a premium badge might keep that in mind. A side note, as I said, this was an event in San Antonio, Texas, and there was a friendly competition. I'm not a bad cook.
And then also the Chili of Champions Challenge, which I know many of you submitted recipes for. Just so you know.
I took second place. Funny thing, though, I just submitted the recipe and a chef prepared it. I didn't know it was mine, and I voted against myself. True story. That's my first look at the all-new Kia Seltos, and before I go, something I learned about Hercules while doing my research is that not only did he have a bunch of children, but he ended up killing them all. Don't know why, but yes, he killed them all. Apparently, he made up for it by doing some sort of atonement, but I really don't know how you do that. I mean, I know my wife would be really mad at me for doing something like that. Just saying. Not to end this on a down note, but that's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.